Hey, what's going on, everyone? Justin here at Trumpful Reads, and in this video, and probably this is going to be a set of two videos, we're going to be doing my library unhaul for the year. And as you can see, there's a bunch of books missing, especially from this side, a few from behind me, and then there's a few over here that you can't see. Basically, I'm doing my unhaul, getting rid of a bunch of books, and I think there's 56 or 57 books that we're getting rid of, so it's actually quite a few, and we're probably just going to go through those pretty quickly. Otherwise, this video, or these two videos, would just take hours and hours, which nobody wants that, so we'll probably just go through those pretty quick. And just a plug for my Etsy and Twitter, you guys should follow me on Twitter, because I've already been doing tons of giveaways on my bookmarks already. I got a bunch of new things coming out pretty soon, hopefully. I'm going to do some better pictures, get so the items look a little bit better on the website and stuff. But yeah, definitely follow me on Twitter if you're not, because I've already given, I think, 4 away so far. So that's pretty cool stuff. And the challenge basically was to guess how many books I was getting rid of, and I had 3 winners, so that was pretty cool. And I'm going to be doing another one pretty soon, so stay tuned on Twitter for that. But let's just get started, and we're probably, like I said, I'm probably going to do half. So we're going to go through the history books and some sort of collections of primary source material, I guess, that I don't really want anymore. And maybe a couple, like, just regular literature books, just to get rid of some. So let's just get started. So I'm getting rid of Charlemagne by Harold Lamb. Basically, Harold Lamb was a scholar from like the 50s and 60s. I just don't really care for his writing style like at all, so I'm getting rid of that one. This Napoleon book, which I forgot I even had, by Emil Ludwig. I just want, like, if I'm going to read a Napoleon book, I think I read like a couple pages and it was like super dry. I want just like a better one, to be honest. Especially since that's not like a topic I'm like super familiar with. I don't want to start with like a super dry one. A History of Private Life. This one is Revelations of the Medieval World, and this is like a set of 2, or there was an original book from like I think it was like Greece and Rome, or Rome and Byzantium or something. This is just basically about private lives of people, like, you know, like sex and old age and dying in your house and stuff. So, but the thing is, it's just like a really boring like textbook type book, and I don't even remember how I got this one, to be honest. Right. Roman Law and Common Law by Buckland and McNair. 2nd edition revised by F.H. Lawson. I'm already keeping another Roman law book, Historical Introduction to Roman Law. This one's actually more of like a legal law book rather than like a history of Roman law. So it's kind of like the comparison of like English common law and Roman law. So I don't know why I have that one either. Don't ask me how I'm accumulating all these like weird books. Arnold Toynbee's Greek Civilization and Character. I'm not a big fan of Toynbee, to be honest. I think I'm getting rid of 2 of his books, and I have a third. I'm going to keep a third one. He was a really famous historian from like the mid 20th century as well, but I really just don't care for his like writing style and his sort of historical attitude, I guess. A History of Classical Greek Literature from Homer to Aristotle by T.A. Sinclair. Basically, I have another book that covers the exact same thing plus Roman literature, so I figured I might as well keep that one and get rid of this one. So I'm trying to get rid of some stuff that have like a lot of overlap. These 2 were actually fairly newish books. Mendel Floss's History of the United States by Eric Sass, and basically I just didn't like how it's meant to be like comedic and stuff, but it's not like my kind of comedy. It's just kind of really blunt and brass, I guess. Very irreverent, I guess. It's like kind of their like slogan type thing, but especially this one because it's the United States, so I just don't care for it that much for history. Then they have the same thing, but History of the World, and this one is also co-authored with Steve Wygand. But basically, they're just too nonchalant, I guess, with their history, so it's just not for me, I suppose. I think someone got me those for like a Christmas or a birthday or something. Greek Athletics and the Genesis of Sport by David Sansone. I read this February, maybe. And I really didn't like it. I had no idea what the guy was talking about. Basically, well, actually, now that I remember, basically he was trying to say how like Neolithic practices of like hunter-gatherers somehow got all the way carried into like the Greek Olympics, and it was just really far-fetched and not convincing at all. So I'm getting rid of that one. Let's see, we got, Robert Massey's Dreadnought, which I thought was going to be all about like battleships and stuff during World War One, but it's actually not. This is just about kind of the naval arms race leading up to World War One between Germany and the British Empire, which is an interesting subject because I like World War One. not 1,000 pages. Interesting though, too. It's like literally I think 1,002 pages or 990, something like that. It's just too long. But I did find out he has a different book. He has Castles of Steel, which is what I think originally thought that one was gonna be. That one I think is literally about just the naval operations of World War One. I'm getting rid of one of the only. I only have 2 World War II books. I have no idea why I have this one, but it's A Bridge Too Far by Cornelius Ryan, and it's about I believe it's about Operation Market Garden, or the operation against Arnhem Bridge in World War II. But I'm not sure if I'm still on the fence if I even really want a World War II shelf or a World War II collection, just because there's so much material on it, and I really enjoy reading about World War One, so. I don't even give that as much time as I'd like to, so I think if I opened up World War II, that would just, I just have no time for anything. So, if I get rid of that one. Shakespeare's Restless World, A Portrait of an Era and 20 Objects by Neil McGregor. Basically, I got this at the dollar store for $1, and I'm not sure why I picked it up, probably just so I had something to buy, but it just doesn't really, look for me, to be honest, and I don't really care for the time period, either, around the 1500s, 1600s, so just not my thing. And here's the other Toynbee work, Mankind and Mother Earth, and like I said, I'm not a big fan of Toynbee in general. Alright, so now let's go on to the primary source collection books, I guess you could say. Basically, now that I have the library, if I really want to read a primary source, I'd rather just have, the whole copy of that individual primary source rather than, little excerpts or, basically collections of excerpts into one book, I guess. So that's why I'm getting rid of most of these books. So we're going to start with Wars of the Irish Kings by David McCullough. Basically, I thought this was going to be a book about Irish kingship or something, and it's not. It's just a collection of primary source material on different wars and battles and stuff taking place in Ireland. So definitely not quite what I wanted. The Medieval Reader, I have 4 or 5 of these that have lots of different basically little collections of stories and stuff from the medieval period. So I'm keeping a bunch of the medieval romance collections and things like that. So I figured I didn't need every single one of them. So I think I kept 3 and I got rid of that one, just by comparing what was in them and stuff. The Medieval Town, that sounded really interesting, but only about half of the book is kind of about medieval towns, and then the other half or whatever is just a bunch of documents relating to medieval township, selections of the Treaty of Constance between Frederick I and the Lombard towns. I don't want excerpts, I guess, so that's basically why I'm getting rid of that one. Same thing with this one. First, this one is just completely destroyed. It's literally just taped, the cover just got ripped and taped back on and stuff, and it's just but anyways, like I said, this one's just a collection of excerpts about how did the Greeks think and stuff, so it's not quite really what I want either. The Medieval World 300-1300 is just another collection of medieval sources. So is Volume 2, Readings in Medieval History of the Middle Ages, by Brian Tierney, and then here's the Volume 1, and a different edition. No, actually, no, they're both 5th editions. I don't know why this one looks so weird compared to that one, but I don't know why I have so many collections of random primary source material from the Middle Ages. Kind of weird. Oh, here's a cool set. It looks cool, but I know I'm never gonna read them. It's The World's Great Thinkers, and there's 4 of them. There's the speculative philosophers, the social philosophers, the political philosophers, and the philosophers of science. But basically, they're all just collections of philosophers or thinkers or scientists or whatever, and it's just little quotes basically from all of them. So, well, not quotes, I guess, but little excerpts from their own writing. So it's just not really what I want, to be honest. Oh, and here's a companion to one of the medieval ones, The Ancient World 2, 300 AD, and like I said, that one's just another collection of primary source material. But I want the whole thing if I'm going to read it. So yeah, those are all the primary source material books I'm getting rid of. I'm still keeping quite a few, to be honest. But like I said, I like to read the whole things. I got Herodotus and Thucydides and Lucretius and Polybius, and I'm sure I got others in here all over the place. But I'd rather have just the whole work, to be honest, rather than just little excerpts kind of spliced together and stuff. And let's see, I want to do about half, so let's do another couple books. And there's a few literature books that I'm going to get rid of as well. That, let's just get, Morgan Llewellyn's Only the Stone Survive. It's a kind of a weird historical fiction of a mythology type fantasy book, I guess, based on basically the fall of the Dadonin in Ireland and the coming of like the Celts. It just really wasn't my thing, and it doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't really fit with the rest of my fantasy books, to be honest. The Celtic Twilight and a section of early poems by Yeats. It's just I don't have any other poetry or modern poetry and stuff like that, so it really doesn't fit either. So it's kind of a weird book too to keep. Now I'm not going to reread that one again. Friedrich Nietzsche's The Philosophy and the Tragic Age of the Greeks. Basically, I just want a better edition of Nietzsche. Here's my philosophy stuff. I actually don't have much. Actually, I'm not even sure I have a direct work on him, but I just want a better edition whenever I do get around to reading him. It's gonna be a while because I still got to go through a lot of like the Roman philosophers and stuff. I'm still like in the Greek stuff. So, and then the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius in the Classics Club edition or whatever. Basically, I already have I think 2 other copies of the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Oh, excuse me, Marcus Aurelius. I got one right there I know of, and then there's more. There's another one somewhere else. I'm pretty sure, but see, I already have that one, so I might as well get rid of that one. So there you guys have it. Those are the first half of the books I'm getting rid of. Tell me what you guys think. Make your case for them if I really need to keep them, but it'll take a lot of convincing to persuade me. I have a feeling, but this is part 1. We're gonna do another. I'll do another video probably later today on the rest of the books. Just tell me what's the last book you guys have gotten rid of. I'd like to hear what you guys are getting rid of. Make sure I'm not the only one getting rid of books. I just feel like I'm getting rid of 56 books. It seems like quite a bit, but as you can see, it really actually didn't dent it like too badly to be honest. But so that's it for this half, and then I'll see you guys later in the second part. But always remember, read victoriously.